I felt it not. How you been doing, Chris?
Such a question. I go up and down.
Is it too deep for you?
No, it's just, I go, there's a lot going on in my, I go up and down a lot between my mind and not in my mind. And I, the thing I keep remembering, or I keep telling myself is don't make shit up. That's what I keep telling myself. Because my mind just, it does stuff. It's just so active. But I can get to, I can calm down and relax when I'm meditating, but my mind is still very, very active. And it's like I said, it makes stuff up. It gives me fears and stories, and I have to keep watching it. So that's where I'm at. But I do like where I'm going when I can meditate deeply. But it's up and down.
How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing well. Doing well. I just saw myself on last Satsang that Ian and Cassie posted. I enjoyed watching my response. It wasn't quite as bad as I thought it was. After you said it was wordy, I thought, oh no, I did it again. I must have.
I can't hear you.
After you, I saw my Ian and Cassie posted your last Satsang. So I was just watching that a little while ago and watching my response to your question about meditation. And after you said it was wordy, I thought to myself at the time, oh, I must have done it again. I must have blurted out a bunch of non sequiturs and a bunch of excessive descriptions and awkward. But I watched it. It wasn't bad at all. It was a little bit repetitive, but I mean, overall, I was making I thought some good points, but it meandered a bit from your question. So I think that's probably what stuck with you. But otherwise, I'm doing fine. And I said 2 years ago, either I'm fully cooked or I'm as fully cooked as I can be. And I was as fully cooked as I could be at the time, but I'm much more cooked now, and it continues.
And you're much more what now?
I'm much more cooked. I'm freer of the skandhas because there still were some distress reactions within me that would come up from time to time to do with somebody in my life that I assumed it was inevitable. I assumed I couldn't avoid it. Like it was just, but no, it is avoidable. I looked at it. I realized what it was doing to me and that it wasn't helpful. And I gained self-awareness about various things, and I dropped that as well. So, the last few reactions that were keeping me bound. And by the way, they're mostly bodily sensations and anxiety reactions. They're not intellectual beliefs. You can believe whatever you want, but if your body and your nervous system still believes it, it doesn't matter what you think. That needs to be healed. What the body and nervous system believe, what the mind believes, has to be healed. And it's not an intellectual thing. It's a somatic and nervous system thing, for me anyway. So thank you for your question, Edji. I hope that was quite succinct and clear.
Who looks smarter, me or Frank? Oh, look, we have a visitor in the audience. How old's the kitten? Eric? How old's the kitten?
I think they're 2 months. They're my neighbors. I'm not sure. Yes, close to 8 weeks, something like that.
Keep them. Don't give them back. Michael, good to see you. Good to see you back. Drop your attention inside of yourself, into that darkness inside your body and your head that you imagine is there. It's kind of hard to not think that there's a little person in there somewhere saying me, 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 me. But if you look, you will not find. So let's look inside of ourselves. And the experience of sitting with yourself in silence changes over the years. It's so much easier now than it was 40 years ago. Because now I enjoy doing nothing and resting inside of myself and exploring the various places within myself. Even though they're not real, they're apparent. But they feel real when you first encounter them. Like there are real levels within yourself. But now when I sit in silence, I encounter a dark emptiness, which is everywhere. And my voice speaks out from that emptiness. And usually I talk about all kinds of shit, none of which are important. But you, it's incumbent upon you to relax your way into awakening, into enlightenment. And what happens there is you really, really, really understand the separation between you and your mind and what the mind does. The mind feels really alien to you, even though you can use it to speak to a bit. Yeah, you can learn to speak without engaging the mind. And I assume that once in a while something useful comes out. And I have a hard time on many satsangs to find anything useful to say. Except that you have to get used to the mind getting gone so that you can sit in silence with you as a person without a mind. And this is a very restful place. I look inside of me, or what feels like looking inside of me, because I'm not going inside or outside, only my attention can do that. But when the mind goes inside, what you find is quite a bit like a dream. Your mind can fill up that dark emptiness with almost anything. Residual thoughts, an experience of emptiness, or a kind of restlessness that you want to move, or say something, or learn something. You can't just rest in place. You have to do something when you're in place. But what meditation and I am about is to use that time of sitting in silence to explore your inner world. By that I mean the world apparently inside of your apparent body. When your mind doesn't speak, instead you're just sitting with no attempt to understand or do anything. The mind becomes very soft. I can hear the jet aircraft overhead. Several birds outside talking to each other. Eddie's pooping in his box now, blowing farts. Eddie is a cat, not a person. Eddie's a wonderful being. Over the years, he's calmed down, and he's not feisty anymore at all. He gets along with the other cats. He's become a peaceful being who I really enjoy having him laying on my chest or my stomach. Or sitting on the side of the chair with the armrest. Usually another cat is up here too. Radha, gray female, 12 years old, who's also calmed down over the years because she doesn't see life here at all inside this house as threatening, although she used to be quite alert around Edji, because he often attacked her. Some of them are jealous little imps. They come up and pay attention to you, and they never used to because another cat is trying to grab your attention and they get jealous. So they come up and sit on my other arm, wanting attention and petting. And as your mind settles into yourself, you feel the feeling of your body becomes much more accessible to you, which lends itself to doing an inner exploration of your mind and the sphere of consciousness around it, which we call our lives, to investigate what our life is and who we are. And the overwhelming thing that pops out after years of meditation is the cognition inside of your sense of being alive, what your body and mind and everything else experiences in emptiness. For example, I experienced the wholeness of my body. My two legs uplifted on the flap of the chair that lifts up. I feel my back, my upper back, against the couch. I feel my head as the locus of my vision, which observes an imaginary outline of my own body. It constructs it out of the different feeling elements that I have. My legs, my feet, my calves, my back, my head, my butt, my arms. And now when I do it, there's complete peace. And when I first practiced 50 years ago, there wasn't peace at all. My mind was always interrupting, having something to say, or to peer at something else. Relax. Feel yourself. Can you feel the life force within you? It took me a long time to discover an experience of the life force as something inside of you that identifies you with the body-mind. Doing this, I feel my mind and body opening up. And feel the life force throughout my whole body. And my body in rest seems to expand to account for the feeling of openness that I feel. You know that when you concentrate, your attention closes down to whatever you're doing. And if you watch it, if you're aware, you'll watch how your mind closes down and cuts out a lot of experiences. But when you sit in meditation, your attention is really focused on all that's going on within rather than without. In the external world can be rather forgotten. On the other hand, when the air conditioner is on, I can hear it as a constant. Sound of, I guess you would call it comfort. The sound of it makes me feel comfortable. Sitting in this chair with my feet raised, my back against the back of the chair. I feel raised and protected and safe. You can imagine that other people can experience themselves in the same way if they're so willing. And whose mind has quieted down to the extent that you can let go of random thoughts and perceived needs and just sit in that emptiness. The air conditioning has gone off. There's a much deeper silence all around me now. And I'm more and more aware of the power of my life force. Sometimes it becomes an overwhelming awareness, becomes the total focus of my attention because it seems to grab me very tightly. But not now. When you look inside yourself, it's done imaginatively. And actually you see only darkness filled with various lights like blue ones and colored lights because of the light touching and going through your eyelids. This is what one aspect of spirituality is all about, which is letting go of the external world and dwell in your internal world. Except that that internal world is constantly infused and informed by external world impingements, which you can become aware of with a still mind. Now my mind is trying to look under the experience of my body. And it can't penetrate that emptiness, that darkness. What is the value of this exercise? The value is the experience of bliss that comes from experiencing the totality of the body, as well as the alive awareness that you are when sitting. As your concentration gets deeper, your body both relaxes and at the same time begins to fill with energy. Please visit what you imagine to be your inner body. Turn your attention around and feel within. Feel the energy of your body and of your mind. There's such a mellowness in my feeling state now. I feel very relaxed and sinking ever deeper. into my consciousness. Your mind should be empty by now. No thoughts. You may even question yourself later, or even now. Why the hell am I doing this? There's no intelligence in that emptiness. Your mind is mostly at rest, if not totally. As long as your body isn't moving, the mind doesn't feel a need to. When the mind begins to disturb you, that's when your meditation can break. But other times, you can feel as if you're dropping very deeply inside of yourself into that dark emptiness. And you feel your mind freezing. It's a very odd sensation at first. And a little later, you can, not necessarily will, experience falling away of the mind. The feeling is of an exquisite peace. The mind is not moving. You have nothing to do. There's some random thoughts in my head. But they're against the background of complete peace. Thoughts are welcomed. We just pass through. My mind just visited a Safeway, supermarket. Because I'm now in the world. Or the more deep mind. That's free even from my attempts to control it. I can feel my entire body. I feel as if I'm floating in space. In a moisturized cloud. What is your experience? Where are you? And when I ask that question, you should realize immediately it doesn't matter where you are. The world has a very different, or myself as an entity within the world, has a very different experiencing. I find myself talking to myself about what I'm experiencing. But overall, I feel extraordinarily peaceful. I realize that I'm speaking to you. About my experience of myself. Now I feel myself descending again, deeper into that darkness. I'm trying to see what lies on the bottom. And it begins to divide up the darkness into different rooms, so to speak. This is the room where I feel how strong my sitting is. I look outside. The trees are moving their branches in the wind. There's absolute silence outside. No cars, no trucks, no airplanes, no sound of the wind, just silence. not the power I feel now. My body's in utter silence. I can no longer feel the blood coursing from my arms. I've become too quiet for that. I'm struggling to not fall asleep and yet remain deep inside. All the time aware that I'm talking about different parts. As meditation and the class progresses. Don't move, Jay. Don't move, Roger. Don't move. You and your bodies. You can do that either as a whole, feel your body as a whole, or you can scan them one area at a time, and then go back and forth around your whole body. By now, your body should be wrapped in ecstatic energy. And if you're not, try to find it. And you'll notice too, when you sit in silence with other people, that their meditation affects you. Nobody seems to be moving. You feel the desire and the direction to open up and experience everything with no defenses. Over an hour has passed. Have you felt the movement of time or the movements in your body during that time? There is a movement in me now. It stopped. This is how you practice self-investigation. Your mind doesn't feel like it's moving, but it is. It's aware of comparisons between moments. Some moments you feel deeper than others. Other moments you might be preoccupied with the bliss you're feeling from being silent and still. Or you may feel guided or interrupted by my speaking to you. My feeling is, though, my speaking voice coming from this place may help you go deeper and go around and around inside to uncover different experiences of your own subtle body, especially the experience of experience yourself as spirit. This to me is enlightenment. When you experience an inner self of life and energy, almost like a separate body inside of yourself. a body of sentience, of awareness. And after a few repetitions of this experience, it's always yours, because you've sunk to a level inside of yourself where you're more or less aware of the subtle body inside of yourself. And this subtle body has characteristics of always feeling rested and relaxed. It wants nothing. It knows nothing. It knows nothing except incredible peace and sense of power it feels when you rest in yourself. Sometimes the sense of power is so overwhelming that all you can do is shut up and let it take you, and then watch what it does. You could feel the power of that subtle body inside of yourself increasing till it's difficult to tolerate. Not because it's painful, but because it's so exquisitely sweet. And you realize you're also touching with that experience of the subtle body the life force itself. And you can come to the point where you just say, I am alive. I am aware. I am. You can also get to the point where the body, the mind, the self, recognizes the mind as a separate entity inside of you. The experience of self is different from that of the mind. In this depth of yourself, the mind is only a visitor. In no way does it impede what you are doing or want to do. It becomes totally your servant and not your master. Chris, tell me about your experience of yourself. If you want to say it, otherwise, just stay there.
I do want to say it. That tells a bit right there. As I said when I came in, I was really feeling very mindy. And really, I could really feel myself in here, in my head. And contracted and small and loud. But as I listen to you and relax, like you say, go down in my body, feel here's how I experience it. It feels like a slow calming, a slow winding down. But then all of a sudden there's a switch, there's a cliff, and I just go down. When I say I go down, it's like I stop existing. What I mean by that is the mind in my identification as myself disappears, and I'm left, well, what I experience, I'll say it that way because I feel like I'm not there. It's not a Chris anymore. It's this experience of a vast nothing. It's nothing and everything. I mean, it's like this big open space of the things that like I'm just aware of it. I'm it's not even me being aware of it. It's just the existence of this space that is being experienced. And in that space, there's no mind. It's calm, peace, serenity. I don't feel a lot of, it doesn't feel energetic. It feels just peaceful and calm. And every once in a while I might have a little daydream. I noticed a couple that were funny. I don't understand what it means, but all of a sudden I had this vision of two little kids running in the sun, happy, playing and chasing each other. I don't know. It just happened. But it's a peaceful, and this is what I was saying earlier at the beginning, is how I experience my life now. Is I'll have these times of this annoying, it feels annoying, the contraction in my head, and I feel it's annoying because I also have these other spectacular, wonderful experiences of peace and openness where, like I said, I don't exist, my body doesn't exist. It's just a feeling of open nothing. And it's so glorious and wonderful and warm and soft. It's everything. It's just so wonderful. And I want to stay there. And as you said, as you were speaking, sometimes your voice would take me down, sometimes your voice poked me up. But it was, in general, an extraordinarily peaceful, calm, wonderful time. And I heard what you said at the end about an hour is up, and it didn't feel like an hour. There was no time. It was for, even though, like you said, it was an hour, it felt like forever. It was just nothing. Glorious nothing. That's what I experienced, and I wanted to tell you that because it's so different from where I was when I came in today. Thank you.
Jay, what about you?
You just took me to an hour of no Jay, and I want to stay there. I don't have anything to say. If I start to talk, I'll deconstruct the joy of the moment and the bliss. So I love you. You are my beloved. You are abiding grace. God manifest, and you did it again to me today. It is though the words are so perfect that it's almost, it's consciousness to consciousness. It's in the perfection of it. It is though they were my words to myself. There's no separation. There's just something exquisite, and I just want to go back there because it's too exquisite to leave. So
I love you, and you did it again. It's just absolute bliss, grace. I just want to be dumb as a rock and just it's just bliss, and it's new and it's wonderful.
What about you, Eric? You've been so still. You calmed the cat down. Goodbye. Did you enjoy it? We'll get to you someday. All right. Those who want to stay here as long as possible, continue. You want to continue satsang? We'll let Mark be in charge. Because he likes being in charge. Enjoys the power, the prestige. Being nothing and nobody. I love you all. Goodbye.